Hey everyone, I'm NornQueenAlexis and welcome back to the channel. Today, we are taking a look at the Psychic Awakening Greater Good book, but this time we are focusing on my favorite little buggies, the Genestealer cult, or as I call them, the Gene Team. So if you don't know about the Genestealer cult, they're essentially your little tiny domestic terrorists turned liberators of worlds that hand them over to the Tyranids. To say they're deluded is an understatement. To say that they're absolute zealots for their cause is completely accurate. They're kind of insane, but in my opinion, their army is at a weaker state. I know, there are lists that win major tournaments and everything, but I just feel like the army overall is not as equipped as, say, the Imperial Guard, Sisters of Battle, Space Marines, or any of the other Xenos factions. In fact, it feels like they lack a certain oomph that they need. They need more synergy in their book itself. So I'm hoping that this book actually does that. So let's just dive right in and take a look at the greater good, the Genestealer cult. Alrighty, let's dive into the Genestealer cult. I just love these guys. I love that they actually have some cowboys and desperados. I think that that's absolutely adorable. And I want to go over a couple of Acolyte hybrid squads and Neophyte hybrid squads and give them cowboy hats. But that's because I want to do a Texas-based game, and I think that would be a lot of fun. So, let's get into this. We do have errata that replaces the current rules. The ambush markers got changed significantly. You can't shoot them or destroy them. Also, you can't place so one of the big changes is you can't place the token and then move beyond your deployment zone because of the token itself. Now you are stuck playing in your deployment zone. So for all of you cheeky players that were doing that, you can no longer do that, unfortunately. Tanks can't go into reserve anymore, which I think was always a thing. I've never run into that as a problem. Ambush markers are not units and cannot be targeted for attacks or destroyed when measuring. Cannot be attacked or destroyed when measuring to and. Wow, I have a wicked glare. When measuring to and from ambush markers, always measure to the center. So just like objectives, they're now measured from the center itself and not the actual ring. So you're measuring from this point right here and not the ring around it. Thank you, Ken and S, for conveniently being here. And then this goes into just not being able to move past your deployment zone and just some quick errata for the ambush and everything like that. It does say that you can't put more than half into reserve, except that Genestealer cult can, because we can take 3 units and put them into reserve. We can also put more ambush markers out. So, yeah. Cult creeds on page 74 to 75 present rules for creating your own cult creed. We'll get to those. Stratagems, page 67 to page 76 to 77 presents new stratagems that can be used by the Genestealer cult detachment, in addition to those found in the Codex. So, more stratagems, which personally, they're okay. Name generator is kind of amusing. Cult psychic powers, we get additional psychic powers, which is good. Aside from that, we do have some errata on the Brood Brothers. You can now issue orders on the Brood Brothers if you take an Astra Militarum detachment, but you cannot issue orders from an Astra Militarum detachment to a Genestealer cult unit. Aside from that, I think it's pretty standard. I don't think I've really saw anything else that is a real big thing. Let's see. Yep, just telling you that you replace your Military Tempestus keyword with Brood Brothers. You replace Astra Militarum with Brood Brothers, and a few other things of that nature. So let's get right into the new cult creeds and how to create your own cult. So to create your own cult, you choose 2 of these. And personally, I think these are kind of hit and miss. I think most of them are a miss, but maybe I'm missing something. And I want you guys to tell me if I am. Just comment in the comment section down below. Please tell me, because a lot of these don't seem that good compared to the cult creeds that we actually have. So the first one, Hunter's Instinct. Until the end of the first battle round, this includes both yours and your opponent's turn. Add 1 to the advance and charge rolls made for units with this cult creed, which is okay. It's pretty decent. Innate Fighter, when resolving an attack made with a melee weapon by a model with this cult creed, in the turn in which it made a charge, was charged or perform a heroic intervention, you can reroll hit rolls of 1. This is really good if you're out of position from some of your other characters. So this one's actually pretty decent. Thralls of the Patriarch. When a morale test is taken for a unit with this cult creed, have the number of models that flee rounding up. Pretty decent. Not great, but if you take your cult in large numbers, it could be good. Seasoned Enforcers. This one I really like because I kind of want to build an Arbites army, and the Genestealer cult actually allows you to do that. So Seasoned Enforcers, infantry models with this cult creed do not suffer the penalty for moving and firing heavy weapons. So this one could be good because, I mean, it's good for like your Ridge Runner, your Goliath Rock Truck, which I still have yet to paint this one. Your Rock Grinder, your Sanctus, I think that's a heavy weapon that he carries. Your Acolyte Icon Ward has a heavy weapon. Not a Acolyte Icon Ward. Adeline, the Sniper Biker. I cannot remember her name right now. If you mass the mining bikes, if you mass mining weapons, these are really good. Heavy weapon teams that can move and fire las cannons, that's pretty decent. So that one's pretty okay. Biker models only with this cult creed do not suffer the penalties for moving and firing heavy weapons, and do not suffer the penalty for advancing and firing assault weapons. So that's really, really, really good, but I like the one that lets me just do a whole bunch of bombs and then run away. And the stratagem that lets you do that. Armor-piercing munitions. This is essentially just man-stopper rounds in 40k, which I really like. When resolving an attack made with an auto weapon, auto pistol, auto gun, heavy stubber, or model with by a model with this cult creed against a unit within half range. So if it has 12, it's 6. If it has 24, it's 12. 36, it's 18. It has an armor penetration characteristic of -1, which this sounds good until you realize that literally everything ignores -1 and -2 now. Except for maybe Tau and Necrons and Guard. So it's good against them. Add 1 to the strength characteristics of grenades. This one I really, really, really like, because you can have strength 9 grenades if you throw the demolition charge. So this one I like. Strength 4 Molotovs is pretty cool. Also, I wonder if that counts the grenade weapons. Is a grenade launcher a grenade weapon? I don't think it is. I know that sounds weird, but I don't think it is. This one is probably the best. When a psychic test is taken for a model with this cult creed within 6 inches of another friendly cult unit, you can re-roll all of the rolls of a 1. So that's ridiculous. That means you're casting Smite much easier. There's one on here that's ridiculously good. Actually, I think it's a Warlord trait that we'll get to. Or a stratagem. It might be one of the Warlord traits. But anyway, let's get back to this. Workers have risen. Form the unions. When resolving an attack made with a melee weapon, made with a weapon from the heavy mining weapon list, see Codex Genestealer cult, by a model with this cult creed, you can re-roll the hit roll. So that's really good because it's re-roll the hit roll, so it gets around the -1. You would hit on a 4-up, goes to a 5-up. So you do technically hit, so you don't get to re-roll it. With this, you actually do get to re-roll it, so that's pretty decent. It makes mining weapons pretty good. Workers Arisen and which one is it? The moving and firing heavy weapons can be really, really cool together. Means you can have a bunch of mining lasers just walking around shooting everything. Devout Workership. When a charge roll is made for a cult unit with the cult creed while stay within 3 inches of a friendly cult hybrid metamorph unit, which nobody uses, you can re-roll the dice. The cult creed cannot be selected together with the Hunter's Instinct cult creed. What the hell are you re-rolling? Oh, the charge roll. Okay. And then Poison Blade, it really sounds cool until you realize that it's, if you hit with your cult knife on a 6, you get an additional hit, which is worthless because with your cult knife, you're going to be swinging with the Rending Claw instead. So overall, I'm actually not too impressed with the cult creeds compared to the ones that we have in the Codex. I know that there's a lot of cool things that people can do, but to be honest, I'm not seeing it. So if you guys see any cool combos, please comment them in the comment section down below. Tell me your reasoning why you like this setup, and tell me the strategy that you would like to use. Because if I am missing something with the cult creeds, I really want to know, and I want to make my army better so that I can bring you the best battle reports that I can. So moving on, we have the stratagems. We have a new ambush stratagem, which I really like. At the start of your shooting phase, select one neophyte hybrid squad unit from your army that was set up on the battlefield using the cult ambush ability. Until the end of that phase, autogun models in that unit are equipped with have the characteristic of Assault 2. So this can actually be really cool when combined with some of the other cult creeds like the AP-1. So it really depends on what you fight, because that could be really decent or it could be utter garbage. Personally, I walk my neophyte squads on. I don't ever... I mean, it's full range though. So you do get the 24-inch range with the auto guns. And it's double shots. It's 1 CP. I'd rather save the CP, to be honest. Annihilating Advance, Goliath Rock Grinder. If it makes a charge move, you roll against infantry. Select one enemy infantry unit within 1 inch of the unit. Roll 1d6 on a 2+. They suffer d3 mortal wounds. So if you are bringing rock grinders, this can actually be pretty good, especially if you like have a few of them in your army and you're hitting each per turn, because the rock grinder is actually surprisingly, well, alive. It stays alive for quite a bit. Excuse me. Stays alive for quite a bit. Now this one is confusing. 2 CP. Vox Contact. At the start of your shooting phase, select one enemy unit within 36 and visible to this model. Okay? So you have to be visible to the model. Okay? Until the end of that phase, when resolving an attack made by a friendly cult model unit... Okay. Let's try this again. Until the end of that phase... When resolving an attack made by a friendly cult model against that unit, whilst the model is within 18 inches of this model, add 1 to the hit roll. An enemy unit can only be selected as the target of this ability or the priority target sighted ability once per phase. So if you actually have like a Sanctus, or you have a... Jackal Alphys, that's her name. You can use this on her and essentially select 2 units to get the +1 against, because she has the priority target sighted. And then you use this to kick it up another notch. So that way you get +1 to each unit. And then if you bring another Jackal Alphys, you can get 3 +1s. So you can be hitting, but keep in mind they can't stack. So you get 3 units that have +1 to hit. So they're hitting on 3s instead. And if you have the move and shoot cult creed, you can actually move your mining lasers into range and then fire at them. And if you have the one that just says you can move and fire heavy weapons without restriction, then you can actually do some pretty nasty work with this. Hitting on 3s is always good. Close range shootout. Use this stratagem in your shooting phase when an Adelan Jackal unit from your army is chosen to shoot with. Until the end of that phase, when resolving an attack made with a pistol or assault weapon by a model in that unit against an enemy unit within 12 inches, you can reroll the wound roll. So it's okay, but it's not great. Personally, I kind of use my Jackals as a screen for characters because they're -1 to hit. And they just deliver bombs and run around with shotguns because the shotgun's already strength 4. So I kind of like them with shotguns a little bit better. But tell me what you think of this one. Violence Unleashed. Use the stratagem in the fight phase. Select one hybrid metamorph unit from your army. Again, nobody uses these. Choose to fight with. Until the end of that phase, add 1 to the attack characteristics of the models in that unit. It's decent, but not great. If you take a huge squad, it could be really good, but personally, I don't like it. Use the stratagem before the battle. Now, I like all of these ones that say before the battle. They're all once per battle in this book, so keep that in mind. But still, they're ridiculously good. Select one Clamavus model from your army. The range of that model's Proclamator, its Hailer ability is increased by 3 inches, so it's increased to 9 inches, which is really good, because I think that's the -1 leadership, which stacks really well if you give him Mental Onslaught. I conveniently have all these models just sitting next to me. Use the stratagem before the battle. Select one Abominate unit from your army. That unit's the Chosen One ability affects friendly Cult Aberrant units within 9 inches of the unit instead of the 6-inch one. You can only use the stratagem once per battle. Again, really, really good, especially if you're building Muscle Beach. That can be huge because if you don't make the charge with your Abominant, he's still in range of all of his abilities, and all of your dude guys are in range of their abilities, so it's just really good. Okay, moving over, Rank and File, or Raking Fire. I said ranking. You know what? Whatever. I'm tired. It's like 8 in the morning. Use the stratagem in your shooting phase. Select one Achilles Ridge Runner unit from your army. Until the end of the turn, when resolving an attack made with its heavy stubbers by a model in that unit, add 1 to the hit and wound roll. I actually really, 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 really like that ability. Because if you don't know, I really like my little Ridge Runners. I want to get a convoy of them because I want a bunch of trucks. I also want to build one that's just a wagon and has a bunch of cowboys with horses pulling it, because I do want to do a Wild West themed Genestealer cult army as an addition to my own army. The Cult Psyche. This one is absolutely insane. The best stratagem in the entirety of the book, in this book, in my opinion, is right here. Use a stratagem before the battle. Select one Magos unit from your army. Increase the size of her thighs by 1. Insane. Incredible. Absolutely, like, amazing. She's got thighs for days. She looks fantastic. Just, wow. Okay, I'll actually read it now. That unit can attempt to manifest 1 additional psychic power in your psychic phase. When the psychic test is taken for that unit, add 1 to the total for each other friendly Cult Psyker unit within 3 inches, to a maximum of +3. You can only use the stratagem once per battle. So, Psyker, 2 other Magoses pop up with her, or Magus pop up with her. She has +3. She's casting Smite on a 2+. She's casting, if you take the special little follower, the Crouchling, she has 3 psychic powers she can cast, which honestly is intense because she'll be casting everything at +3 for the first time. So she'll cast like Mental Onslaught on a +3. she'll cast Mind Control, Mass Hypnosis, and Smite really quickly and really devastating. Like, honestly, it's insane. This ability is amazing. Slipping through the shadows. Use a stratagem in your movement phase when a Sanctus model from your army is chosen to move. Now, personally, I equipped all my Sanctus with sniper rifles because it seems like the better option. But if you go for melee, this might be good for you. They advance 6 and can charge after they advance. So if you do the melee option and give it the upgraded sword, the relic sword, he's actually pretty decent in close combat. The only problem is he's still a Sanctus and still essentially a guardsman. So he'll die just as quickly. So I see the benefit of this, but I'd rather have a better sniper rifle. Genetic lineage. Use the stratagem in the charge phase. Select one Acolyte hybrid unit from your army until the end of the phase. That unit can be chosen to charge with even if it advanced in this turn. Ridiculously good, especially if you have to take line and then move the 6 inches and then you advance and hopefully you get 6 inches, so you already moved 24 inches, or you only get 3. You can still then charge with a 9-inch charge depending on how you actually moved yourself. If you're doing like Pauper Princes or something else, you're getting an additional +2 to that. So you're averaging 10, 11, 12, 13, 14-inch movement. If you take line, that's an additional 12 inches. So you're 26 inches up. So you're danger close to the enemy and just a charge will get you right in. Use a stratagem in your opponent's shooting phase when a rock grinder or Goliath truck from your army is chosen as a target for an attack with a ranged weapon. Until the end of the phase, weapons with an armor penetration characteristic of -1 or -2 are treated as having armor piercing of AP -0. So, again, really good if you intend to take the Goliath truck and you just want it to survive. Otherwise, you're just going to probably hope that those bolters don't tear through you. Overcharged weapons. This one I think it's good. Use a stratagem in your shooting phase when a cult unit from your army is chosen to shoot with. Until the end of that phase, when resolving an attack made with the clear incinerator, heavy mining laser, or heavy seismic cannon by a model in that unit, you can add 1 to the wound rolls. So if you're using the clearance incinerator on the Goliath rock truck or the Goliath rock grinder, it's insanely good. If you're using a mining laser from across the field against like an Imperial Knight, or I honestly don't know. I guess you would use this and try to pop up against like a unit of Centurions and force them to use superhuman physiology. So that way you can target a different unit. I see its uses, but I guess you could use it on the mining lasers or the heavy seismic cannons that the normal dudes carry. That could be useful. I don't know how I'd implement that. Heart of the Creed. Use the stratagem before the battle. Select one Cult Primus model from your army. When this model is set up on the battlefield for the first time, you can select one additional enemy for that model's miraculous planning ability. You can only use this stratagem once per battle. It's okay. The Primus is kind of terrible. I was kind of hoping for something cool with him, like, hey, here's a relic that gives him a 2+ in armor save. But whatever. That's one of the other things. This doesn't come with relics. I really thought it would, but they didn't give him additional relics. I feel like that was a missed opportunity. So, all called Psychers, models in this psychic powers. So, here's the psychic powers for the various cults. So, Cult of the Four-Armed Emperor, Undermine. This has a warp charge warp charge value of 8. If manifested, select one infantry unit within 18 inches of the Psyker. Until the start of the next psychic phase, have the movement characteristic of the models that are in that unit and have their advance or charge rolls made by that unit rounded up. This is really fantastic. This is actually a ridiculously good ability. You want to hit like first turn you actually just want to hit Centurions or Aggressors, depending on what your opponent's bringing. You want to hit like their Death Star units with this, and you really want to just hope for the best with it. If you take a Magos with the +3 bubble, the +3 ability, and this goes off on a 5, which is insane. But actually there's no downsides to this aside from its warp charge value of 8. It's just really good. Synaptic Blast has a warp charge value of 6. If manifested, select one enemy unit within 18 inches and visible to the Psyker. Roll a number of d6 equal to the number of Hive Cult models from your army within 3 inches of this unit. For each roll of a 6, that unit suffers 1 mortal wound. So what you want to do is you want to take your Primus, who has a 50 mil base, surround him with 30 infantry. So you roll 30 dice. Because you can, I actually did measure this all out, you can fit 30 around him within 3 inches. So the average damage of this psychic power is... So the next one we have has a warp charge value of 6. If manifested, select one bladed cog unit from your army within 12 inches of the Psyker. That unit starts your next psychic... Until the start of your next psychic phase, when a model in this unit would lose a wound, they have 5+ feel no pain. Okay? I really wish I would just say feel no pain. It would get around so many things. Inescapable Decay. This sounds like a Nurgle ability. Has a warp charge value of 6. If manifested, select one enemy vehicle unit within 18 inches and visible to the Psyker. Until the end of the turn, when resolving attacks made with weapons against that unit, improve the armor penetration characteristic of that model by 1. Of the weapon by 1 for the attacks. So I really like this one for hitting knights with mining lasers or demolition charges, because you go to AP -5, which means Imperial Knights like don't have a save at all. Land Raiders don't have a save. It's crazy. No, actually it goes to AP -4. They do have a save of, because they have 2+, so they go to 6+. But it's also really good if you have the other ability for the... actually, it's Rusted Claw, so you have to take Rusted Claw regardless. Huh. See, these don't work with your own cult creed. That's the biggest thing. And that annoys me. Last Gasp on it's essentially the banner, 4+. You manifest it on a 7 if you're within 12 inches and you die on a 4+. You roll d6 on a 4+, you can either shoot or make a melee attack. Pretty decent, especially if you're massing mining lasers, grenade launchers, and things of that nature. So this one has a warp charge value of 6. If manifested, select one enemy infantry unit within 12 inches of the Psyker until the start of your next psychic phase. When resolving an attack made with a melee weapon by the Twisted Helix, you add 1 to the hit rolls. Really good, especially if you're going Muscle Beach. Other than that, it's okay. I just kind of wish, Genestealer Genestealers benefited from this. That would be cool, but no. Then we have the name generator. The name generator is okay. It's just okay. And that is it for this book. So, I kind of feel like the Genestealer cult got shafted. They didn't really get too much, but if I'm missing something, please, again, tell me in the comment section down below. I think the best thing they got is the Magos with +3, or the Patriarch with +3, depending on how you want to do his psychic powers. But overall, I'm a little bit disappointed with how this... I wanted more relics, because the relics we have are not that good. The stratagems are okay, but actually the stratagems are pretty good. The problem is we already blow through all of our stratagems, all of our command points, turn 1 and turn 2. So it doesn't really leave much to do. And I feel like this is more just, They just kind of threw stuff in here, but it doesn't feel like proper cult yet, if that makes sense. I wanted more synergy in the book. So tell me your thoughts. Tell me what you think. Tell me the questions you have. Tell me the strategies that I am missing, because if I am missing some, please inform me so I can make my cult better and, actually work hard on this army. So with that all said, I hope that you enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, please leave a comment down below. It really helps out the channel. Like this video, share this video on social media. It actually helps out the channel quite a bit. If you also want to help out the channel, check out the Patreon. Patreon goes a long way to helping out the channel so much. As always, I'm NornQueenAlexis. I love you guys. Bye. Hey everyone, do you want a cool shirt? Be sure to check out my Teespring. Link is in the description down below.